So the other day I got married, and now, legally speaking, in every sense of the word, I am married. Wish me congratulations, but for now, I'll say congratulations to myself for having what you probably don't have if you're watching this YouTube channel. Kill yourself. Anyway, I want to talk about incels again because you need me to. You, with your very puny brain, need to listen to someone superior to you like myself, a literal wife haver, to tell you what's true and what's not. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. The expectations in society have changed. When my grandparents were alive, they basically just had sex with the people that they married. Like, your body count does not matter at all. It doesn't. What matters is if you are in a long term, committed, happy relationship. If there are people you're friends with who are shaming you or judging you, even implicitly judging you, over the amount of people that you've had sex with, those are not the people that we would call friends. Those are the people that we would call crabs. They're trying to pull you down to their intellectual and emotional level. That being a small one and an immature one. They're immature emotionally and they have a small amount of intelligence. Don't be like them, be better than them. And the first step to doing that is by not talking to them. Talk to people who are positive, who are going to encourage you, who want to see you do better. Not in this shallow realm where you're having sex with as many people as possible, essentially turning sex into nothing more than masturbation with another human body present. But instead, talk to people who will encourage you to forge a legitimate connection with another human being, one that necessitates the sort of commitment that you would commit to for the rest of your life, that is exclusive in nature, and that is causing you to be bounded together by a moral contract in the eyes of God. That's what you need to do. And you need to do this because that's the kind of bond that's going to last. That's the kind of bond that is going to compel you to be a better person. Because if you are to find that kind of person that you want to grow with and live for the rest of your days with, then you're going to have that motivation right away to improve and change, and it's going to direct you throughout your life. It's going to guide you throughout your life. I'm not saying problems don't happen. I'm not saying people don't change and that can't, cause problems in relationships. It can. But that direction is a good thing. And that sincere belief in the longevity of one's relationship, that sincere belief in the contract being made is what one should be striving for. But it's interesting to me how these incels will obsess over body count and the amount of people that you have sex with without realizing that those numbers in and of themselves mean absolutely nothing. They mean something under the purview of some highly shallow and highly judgmental people that you should not be talking to in the first place. And in no other context do they mean anything. They mean nothing because those are not people who you've connected with in a sincere way on a deep level. Those are people who you've had sex with for maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes, and then it's over, it's gone. You begin to treat people as disposable when you see things through that lens. You begin to dehumanize people when you see things through that lens, rather than uh, rather than seeing things as a bond that between two people, a contract between two people in the eyes of God. You are seeing things through this extremely narrow, dehumanizing lens, and that needs to be changed. Um, it's interesting to me because what I'm trying to point at here is hypocrisy. Like, these are, I feel like one of the major problems with incel ideology is that it's a lot of inconsistencies that are kind of strung together without making any broader point aside from women bad, okay, seriously, trust me. They're not consistent in a lot of their points because they'll simultaneously say something like polygamy is bad, okay, we agree there, but then they'll say, but not when men do it. Polygamy is bad because it's causing this, I don't know, social decay in our society, um, blah, blah, blah. But also, when men do it, it's fine because they should have a high body count. They should hedonistically have as much sex as possible, showing zero restraint, zero morals, zero principles whatsoever. They should do that for reasons, I guess. But it's bad when women do it. When I would say that it's condemnable when either do it, and that really what they should be trying to do is improve themselves to a point where they can eventually find that person that they do deem worthy of making a lasting connection with and get married to and raise children. This is what our young people should be focused on today. Not this like shallow acquisition of bodies to be placed in as a statistic in their mind and to their friend, quote unquote friends, not real friends, but people they call friends. It seems like they make that correct point that polygamy is bad, and then they unevenly apply it across the genders. They make that correct point that modern society is bad for how it treats sex and relationships, but then they just engage in those tendencies regardless. And it shows you the fragility of what these people quote unquote believe. They don't believe anything. What they have are feelings of isolation, loneliness, discontent, alienation, and anger. They feel anger towards a group of people over their immutable characteristics. The main one, generally speaking, being sex or gender identity. And they invoke all of these perceived differences that categorically must be had because of those immutable characteristics. I think that's just untrue. I've made videos explaining why I think that's untrue. Um, but that's really what it's about. It's this anger they feel towards other people for these characteristics that they were born with that they can't change. And through that, they extrapolate all of these points that don't actually stand up to scrutiny. They're not consistent when you put them under a magnifying glass. When you think about them for even just a moment. And I think it's because what they're engaging in, because of their emotions, or rather their lack of beliefs, their lack of consistency, what they're engaging in is the most blatant self-flagellation in the face of modern society. They are purveyors of modern society. They agree with these fundamental notions that are set forth by certain liberal feminists, by atheists, by a lot of these people who run the corporate kleptocracy. This idea that traditional marriage is wrong, that somehow it harms women, this idea that you should be riding the cock carousel, or you should be participating in said carousel if you're a man, that that this synthetic version of sex through pornography is somehow an acceptable good for society. That the proverbial tender conveyor belt of women is something that you should be pursuing, rather than pursuing a lasting, genuine relationship that culminates in marriage. That you should instead be participating in this, and the reason why you can't succeed in this is actually because of these inherent problems with women. And when these people inevitably have sex, because so many of the notions they have about the world are wrong, and they actually can have sex, the moment that they do, they just become misogynist because they were never actually incels in the first place. Incel does not exist. I have gone on to say this so many times on this channel. It is not real. It is not real. And it should be obvious why it's not real. If so many people who who aren't rich, aren't wealthy, are short, fat, and ugly, can have 10 out of 10 girlfriends. I see it all the time when I go outside. I know you do too. But you pretend like it isn't there. You pretend like it doesn't exist. And while covering your eyes and shutting your ears, you pay attention to only the quote-unquote evidence and information that ends up agreeing with the the points that you're trying to make. Um, and it creates this situation where you're you're in this information echo chamber. You're only paying attention to information that will be used to confirm your point of view, to the extent that it even exists. Um, and then you're denying the existence of everything else, even when it's right in front of you, because that would contradict your point of view. And it just makes it, to me, it just seems like if this is the best we can do as men, like, men are fucked. Like, if these beliefs are gonna be like the thing that saves modern society from collapsing in on itself, um, we might as well do ourselves in. It's over, guys. But I don't think that is the case, because God exists, and you can find him.